Now, if you ask an average Nigerian to assess education in Nigeria in the year 2013, you might be getting a rather gloomy report. But despite all of the challenges experienced, there were many issues that shaped the year for the sector beyond the several months of strikes by university lecturers. In our next report, our correspondent, Gloria Umezioke, examines the events in the education sector in the year 2013.
Not a few Nigerians believe the education sector for the year 2013 did not fare well. In what can be described as an ill-fated start, barely 3 weeks into the year, the students of the University of Abuja began with a protest, disrupting examinations following disagreements with the school's vice-chancellor. But just as these students protested, other would-be students had to contend with a different kettle of fish. Over 1 million candidates sitting for the university tertiary matriculation examinations may not gain access into the tertiary institutions. Before her sack in September, the former Minister of Education, Professor Rukayatu Rufai, announced that current carrying capacity of tertiary institutions across the country is only about 500,000, which cannot cater for the 1.7 million candidates sitting for the UTME.
What are we going to do with this large number of students that are out there? You have seen them sitting for that examination with all seriousness. But I feel the pain that most of them cannot have access at the long run.
Few weeks after, the cheering news that the federal government would hand over the completion of more Almajiri schools was not enough to douse tensions that arose in May when Colleges of Education Academic Staff Union of Universities and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, began an indefinite strike over failure of the federal government to implement the 2009 agreement. The series of meetings which followed, as well as an order by the federal government to call off the already 2-month-old strike, seemed only to strengthen the resilience of ASU to continue till all demands were met.
Our members nationwide are convinced that government is insincere in terms of all the agreements we have had with government.
12 weeks after the commencement of ASU's strike, a major cabinet shake-up by President Goodluck Jonathan hit the sector as the Education Minister, Professor Rukayatu Ahmed Rufai, was sacked from office. But it appeared that news was rapidly swept under the carpet with the unfolding disaster and more controversies that followed. By October, 50 Yobe students were killed by unknown gunmen suspected to be members of the Boko Haram sect.
The people they are killing in the north, the people they are killing everywhere, calling Boko Haram. The innocent people they are killing everywhere, their bloods are crying. We are splitting innocent blood in this country, and God is not happy with us.
And in the middle of this, heated debates, consultations and threats continued over the ASU strike. These pockets of grievances soon erupted in another protest by thousands of market women.
Let them not go end of this month. You will see what we do. We are traders, we are market women. We don't want trouble in this country. You don't do now. This one go bring it on, this one go bring it on. Can't we have peace in this country for a change?
It was indeed an eventful year as the war between the federal government and ASU reached fever pitch. Many chose sides in the battle, and in the end, the much sought-after compromise brought huge relief to Nigerians.
Government has done quite enough. Government has injected so much funds through various means into the education sector. You heard of the meeting we had with vice chancellors and the pro-chancellors. It was surprising to members of the public how much fund has been disbursed by government through TED fund and how much funds have been left unassessed by the beneficiaries of these funds. Government is not saying that ASU is not making any sense. Government is saying yes, in as much as you're making sense, but we think we can only achieve this if we go by this way. And there's no need giving promises that cannot be fulfilled.
The year ended, albeit positively, with more projects to drive technological advancement in the nation's ivory towers, spearheaded by the National Universities Commission.
if you look through what we signed, was there any demand from government? Did you see any demand from government? Government should be saying, I haven't given you this, we want you to do this, we want you to do that. That should be the tone, and I'm sure they're ready for that. But I'm not too disturbed about the tertiary education setting, but I worry about the primary and secondary education, because what we gain from that is the quality of students they bring to us. So I'll be advising state governments that they should improve the quality of teaching and learning at the primary and secondary education level.
Now, even though the decadence in the nation's tertiary institutions has been talked about for the best part of the year, some Nigerians may be hopeful now that 2014 would bring about the much-needed revolution in the sector. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by an educationist, Mrs. Folashade Adefisayo. You're welcome to the news at 10.
Thank you for having me here.
Well, we've had other people's opinions about education within the last 12 months. What's your assessment?
Mine is not very different from the assessments we've just listened to. I also think that the situation is pretty poor, and I would actually give the sector a mark of below average, absolutely. Because, I mean, let's look, for example, we all know about the ASU strike, and that was in the public eye. But the other sectors are not in the public eye. But the things that are happening there, too, are really, really disturbing. Like, let's look at secondary education, that bridge between basic education and university. It's clear that that sector is really somewhat it's not getting the attention that it deserves. And who feeds the universities? I, as an educationist, feel that the most important interaction in any school is what happens in the classroom between the teacher and the child. And all funding should support that interaction. What we find is that, well, the budget is large and so on, but a significant proportion of everything goes into recurrent expenditure. So we are not investing in the things that will enable that sector provide the kind of education that we think our children should get at this point in time.
The budget is large. As a matter of fact, education received the lion's share in 2013. It was twice as much as health, 2/3 more than works, and almost 5 times more than agriculture and rural development. So what is this investment of actually 426 billion naira? What has it yielded?
It's the bulk of it is going into recurrent expenditure, which will be salaries and so on, and maybe consumables. But it's not going into capital expenditure. The proportion going into capital expenditure is so minimal that we are not. That's why we are not seeing the impact. It's not going into the heavy things that are really not very visible. It's not going into infrastructure. Not enough of it is going into infrastructure, into teacher development, into curriculum development, into resources and facilities in the classroom, all the things that will aid that interaction so that the teaching and learning process will be enhanced.
But from what you're saying, it looks as if maybe those that are in control of these various aspects of education, are they working at loggerheads? Are they working at cross purposes?
Well, we all know that education is on the concurrent list. So that means that various levels of government are responsible for various levels. Well, that's a common pattern worldwide, that you can't have, say, the federal government being responsible for everything. But what I worry about is, okay, basic education is supposed to be like local government and local government basically, but I'm not sure that they have the human capacity to cope with what we need as far as basic education is concerned. You can't just look at education in terms of paying teachers. You have to go well beyond that. What about the training of the teachers, the orientation, the mentoring, the coaching, the facilities in the classrooms, the books, the libraries, the labs, and the reagents in the laboratories, and so it's a huge thing. And I'm not sure that they have the capacity to I think we are de-intellectualizing education. I think we are deprofessionalising it.
So let's look ahead then to 2014.
Yes.
How do we streamline things? How do we clean up the education sector?
I think one thing that we've really got to address is the quality of teaching. which goes to the quality of teachers. I would like a situation where we really focus on teacher professional development, good quality. I'm not saying put 10,000 teachers in the class and lecture them, but to actually give them good quality, impactful, sustainable teacher training that will improve teaching in the classroom. This, if we address that, I think all other things will then follow, but there's no system that can rise above the level of its teachers.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
I've been speaking with Mrs. Folashade Adefisayo, an educationist, about education in 2013. Well, it's time for us now to go over to our studios in Abuja, where Linda Higbe is waiting. Hi, Linda.
Good to see you again, Bimbo. And thank you for joining us in the nation's capital. Members of the People's Democratic Party in Kwara South Senatorial District, comprising 7 local government areas, have expressed their support for the national leadership of the party and the second-term bid of President Goodluck Jonathan if he decides to contest. The party members who converged on Isapa urged the president not to be deterred by those who defected from the party, as they have no political value in their wards, communities and states.
The village of Isapa in the Ekiti local government area of Kwara State played host to members of the People's Democratic Party across the 7 local government areas making up the zone. They were here to partake in a rally to express their support and continued membership of the party. The convener of the rally, who is the senator representing Kwara South, Senator Simeon Ajibola, noted that the rally is a manifestation of the huge membership of the PDP in the zone.
There is PDP in Kwara. Those that came as visitors in 2003, they are the set of people. We gave them the opportunity to use the party platform to become, and the party made them, only to decide to jettison the party. We won't say anything bad about them. We can only wish them good luck. But what God has made of PDP will remain with PDP.
We need to stand together. We must stand together. That is the only option that we have. We cannot go back to yesteryears, when some divisive factors, some blacklets tell stories and tales about one another to turn our backs against one another. We are now united. We will carry this flag of unity into 2015.
All the speakers at the occasion highlighted the achievements of the federal government in the state and warned opposition members not to take the gentleness of the president for a weakness, but as a means of gradually transforming the country for the better.
Our PDP recognizes the leadership of Dr. Bamanga Toku, and we believed in President Jonathan.
We have 3,500 Kwarans engaged, and they are gainfully engaged. Even though, like I said, the program is an interventional program, nobody is going to be exited into nothingness. If you are participating, you are one of our people. By the time you finish, you'll be better off than you came in.
With the boasting of various parties to capture Kwara State come 2015, the people of Kwara will surely decide who and which party will emerge.
The National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, today denied suspending its strike, insisting that its members are still observing the strike order from its leadership. A statement signed by the union's president, Mr. Igwe Achese, claims that all members are still at home and may not return to work until the Ministry of Petroleum puts on hold the privatization of the nation's refineries. The union, however, acknowledges that it has received an invitation to attend a meeting with the government on January the 4th, 2014, and it is willing to hold talks with the authorities. And that's all from Abuja. Back to you, Bimbo.